Perry, you need to unmute yourself. Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Did you get what you needed to get?
What do you mean by that? I mean, I haven't gotten the doc yet, if that's what you're asking.
Oh, no, I messaged you on Facebook something about the app.
Oh, yeah, I've got that already. Yes.
Okay, cool.
But you're waiting on the doc, right?
Yes.
Evan, have you sent the doc?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Perry, let me know when you get the doc. Evan, did you send it to the correct email?
Oh, I don't think I added Perry to the email chain, my bad. I had all 3 judges.
Oops. Might want to add Perry on that. Perry, let me know when you get it.
Okay, I should have just
Okay.
sent it.
You have it now?
No, I'm still waiting.
I still
Refreshers.
don't have the doc.
Okay.
Still waiting.
Evan,
So-
things aren't working the way they should here, buddy.
This has been a problem the past couple of days. My emails take a really long time to send.
I've had similar issues.
Can we have the second Princeton observer identify themselves? I have the Vidansh, but I don't have, there's another one below that one. I need you to just like put your name in, please.
Is part of it the number of them you have on this site? Are we good to go on that? We okay
I'm
with that?
still
Because
waiting
right
for the
now we're
doc.
What?
I'm still waiting for the doc.
Yeah, I don't have the speech doc either.
Do you want to create like a pocket box or something? Or speech drop. That's what it's. Speech drop. My bad.
Yeah, I think it'll eventually send. It says sent 1 minute ago for me.
It normally takes like 5 minutes for it to go through, I found.
If Dave yells at it, you'll probably get it faster.
Yeah, that's probably true. My suggestion for some of you that are on here as observers is probably the smartest
just got
to
it.
do rather than be here. It would be
Got
to
it.
go to the live stream if you would want to do that, because it might help things a little bit better if you did that. What's the, Jansen, what's the link to the live stream? Do you have that?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share it in the chat box
Okay.
real quick.
That's great. Because if we can get some of these people out of here, I think it would probably make things a lot easier.
I still have not gotten the doc.
I just got it.
Charles has got it. Amanda, do you have it yet?
I have received it.
That might be the
I'm
first
good.
Yeah,
email.
I think that was the first email.
That was the first email.
Okay, wait, Perry, I'll just message you on Messenger so
Okay.
we can just get this started.
Thank you.
But then the second email chain will probably eventually send.
Great.
You have to also, yeah, you might want to, you know, the judges, if one of the judges, they get it sooner or whatever, you might want to just have them do that too. Yeah, if we could have a bunch of you that are just in here observing, if you would go to the link for the live stream, that would be much better probably. So would appreciate that. Perry, let me know when you got it.
I got it. I'm gonna mute myself, but Evan can feel free to start.
Okay. Is anybody not ready? Cool.
Plan. The United States ought to eliminate their W-76-2 nuclear weapons advantage. First, U.S.-Russia tensions are higher than ever. Scenario for war likely. O'Connor. 2-4. Moscow sought to word the government taking responsive measures to massive use military deployment across multiple European states bordering Russia at large. Using military deployment in Europe in 25 years to approve this kind of a doctrine. Wanted response and continue to escalate tensions. The U.S. also left that INF street lies to Russia developing has begun to deploy a number of high-tech and hypersonic missiles as well as visible to the U.S. Second, the new W-762 warhead drastically increased the risk of miscalculations of warhead discrimination. Anderson. 120. The deployment of a new low-yield nuclear weapon on the U.S. subs. The modification of existing warhead W-762 has both yield 500 times more powerful than most powerful conventional weapon to match target unclear cities and hard bases. Anything but full size explosive tactical fail create so full discrimination problems. Subs carry with low full size option possible to adversely determine what kind of warhead the missile will be carrying. With short window anyway, it's just will assume to worsen. Choose a full size response. Third, W-762's trigger extremely short window for response, increasing risk of miscalculation launching. Endanger submarine crew members. Roblin 227 trident missile can hit target 1,000 rounds within half an hour, endangering a submarine with roughly 150 crew of vital strategic missile carries difference in response. Shouldn't matter too much for it to have leading strength and attention less about hitting a target than conveying a political message. 4, lowers the threshold for use and rapidly escalates to all-out nuclear war. Roblin 227 Russia wouldn't be able to distinguish tactical nuclear for restricting one launch from likely at a tactical target in Eastern Europe. Maybe was very much looking at head out to wipe out Russian fleet individually trigger strategic nuclear policy. Risk all invaders in the United States meeting the same fate as here treatment more useful nuclear weapon. They also have having a lower threshold for use, increase the risk of that chain of escalation. 5, U.S. first strikes, which also shreds second strike capabilities. W-762 cause war and are horrible for our defense strategy. Anderson 120 launching missile risk reveals every location instantly. Substitute has a survival secondary deterrence will divulging whereabout would be foolish having to rapid enemy escalation very opposite low yield warheads. Declared officers identified W-762 as imagined first strike option. 6, U.S. deterrence is sufficient now. Roblin 227 funding would continue to flow to W-72 nuclear warheads. W-72 is treated weapon designed to obliterate hardened missile silos, while the W-72 is a tactical nuclear weapon designed to hit individual military bases and formation in Moscow. Escalated strategy might be employed after Russian conventional forces have secured a vulnerable target. United States already maintains an arsenal tactical nuclear bomb can be dropped by 4th generation jet fighters. 7, we've already crossed the nuclear threshold. Russia believes that U.S. uses first would encourage the use of elusive pressures. O'Connor 3-7 Russia says new U.S. nuclear weapons threats nuclear workers like Trump administration and deployment low yield nuclear warheads to expand the likelihood of use. Moscow arguing that watching this clear aggression, U.S. military connectivity exercise simulating Russia decided to use low yield limited nuclear weapon. U.S. says back with simulating a strike on one official categorized limited nation normalizing nuclear war with the sick exercise purposely consider nuclear conflict as a viable political option, create corresponding potential for this. Only U.S. Russia nuclear war causes extinction from nuclear winter. Other arsenals are too small. Fakura LL-17 nuclear war between U.S. and Russia could be much worse. It's maximum amounts of smoke that ammunition absorbs sunlight, global cooling, and loss in just from the nuclear winter, and making it impossible to go for food for years. Third, extinction would be great. This only possible between U.S. and Russia have more than 9% of world nuclear weapons. Small regional nuclear are likely to use extinction, but complex in order to magnitude larger ways. Risk extinction to create from conflict between U.S. and Russia. Framework the standards maximizing well-being. First, non-natural moral factor epistemic alien so Papnu 07. All physical facts are due to natural causes and moral facts outside this. The moral facts have different habits of physical world. This epistemological functionality mediated by physical process involving sets and cognitism. Moral facts cannot influence the physical world, then we can't have any knowledge of them. Second, moral theories must be applicable in every instance, otherwise they're incomplete. Can't always guide action. Only usual guides action in every decision, like whether or not to order pizza or salad. Third, phenomenal experience proves that pain is essentially bad. We cannot understand what pain is without associated with objective disvalue. Mandela 06. Phenomenal difference in pain and pleasure seems that phenomenal component of the form is intrinsically worse. No one can ever get characterization and rebel ignore the phenomenal state part situation. No one can get complete characterization was phenomenal without capturing the intrinsic value, disvalue, and present acting unconstant by physical properties. It is itself concrete, just like phenomenal yellow filters, objective phenomenal properties are intrinsic madness. Outweighs into the lexical prerequisite thoughts of body security and life preclude the ability for moral actors to effectively act on other moral theories as a constitutive crisis that inhibits our moral conditions with other theories presupposed. 4, continuous personal identity doesn't exist. Psychological evidence. OPAR 14. Humans are not consistent identity, but a chain of successes. We see our future as stages areas of brain when we're actively when subjects thought today, then the future when they intercept us, so the similar to Matt Damon. Since we think for our future soul, someone else larger simply reflects how we treat other people. Instability subject justifies consequences. Moral theories can't focus on individuals. This is nothing that unifies them across time. Only states where fears have value. 5, moral study means that we should prevent extinction. Bottom 12. Our moral studies that are present understand might be confused. If we are uncertain, there's great value preserving our ability to recognize value future recording and ensure that the future humanity's best way to increase future value. It's 6, use consequentialism. 8 point aggregation. Every policy benefits some to harm others, which also means that psychology freezes action. B point no act mission distinction. Choosing to omit as an act itself. People psychologically decide not to act, which means being presented with act creates a choice between two actions, and either of which is an omission. C point no intent foresight. If we foresee a consequence, then it becomes part of our deliberation, which makes it intrinsic to our action. Because we intend it to happen. D point only consequentialism can explain degrees of wrongness. I break up a promise to me at a large is not as bad as breaking a promise to take a dying person to hospital. Only consequence of breaking the promise assumed by the second one is much worse than the first. 7. Any risk of ethical value is enough to vote on scap permissibility. Ross 6. Analytic theories don't assign value or options. Suppose that I have a credence of 0.99 in analytic theory. There would be nothing valid discoverable in either alternative, so I can hardly reject any theory deliberate on non-deflationary theory. 8. Exceptions exist even if their framework is generally right. Course guard 2. Common denominator consequences. I see non-linear theories of way of taking you hear of consequences which consequences seem too appalling. Simply wash our hands off. There are cases where actions go wrong, which to a way that turned out not to be the act we intended. These actions can be dealt by a kind of double level structure method. The state is inevitable. Engaging with the state doesn't necessarily mean endorse it. They follow some of the politics of dogmatic right wing. Flowing show 16. Some reject any engagement to be decided between all and replicating hierarchies. Absenteeism as effect can be disempower ourselves from the state, making the best until endorsement. We are already involved in state politics. We already submitted to state power strategies must evolve. According to political critics within sort of conflict defensive institutions should be seen as regarding class role. Our reps often has uniqueness, high school career who is epistemic and consistent by using nuclear crisis. Professor successive deterrents are constructing hypothetical worlds and acknowledge the role of luck in nuclear management, which is key to public reconceptualization of nuclear decision making and shifting dominant modes of scholarship. Put us 17 tensions between Russian and the West remain high. International learning, the limits and controllability of Western import precludes for decision making and deliberation on the public subject. State trying to portray themselves as responsible custodians crisis. Point to a role play about the outcome of the crisis not lead to nuclear wars. Look undermines the claims that nuclear crisis can be safely managed and that spread. Command and control systems will work episode frequently displayed in which crisis is not reducible to successive deterrence. Cut the card success of deterrence and totalizing understandings of the social rules on dogmatism are episodically suspect and also permits atrocities. The naughty 17 responsibility requires students in making savings and winning investigations. Some about automatic probably self-political imagination abstract based on abstract precision rather than careful diagnosis. Cut Zanadi at careful diagnosis. Didn't read anything below that, and I cut Pelopidos at something about deterrence.
You ready for CX?
Yep.
Did you extend anything on the 1AC?
No.
So I feel like you extended something under Course Guard.
No, I didn't.
You sure you didn't? Okay.
Yeah, like, the only arguments I'm gonna go for in the 1 year are ones I made in the speech doc.
Okay.
I think I said method, but no, I'm not gonna go for like some random theory argument that I extended because I didn't accept anything.
Let's talk about this Pelopidas evidence. Is this an independent reason to vote F if I don't read a K?
No, I need to prove why the app is a good idea.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Like, can you extend like I'm winning the advantage means I've solved nuclear war in real life, vote F?
No, the Pelopidas evidence is the reason why the educational model of the app is good in questioning the unconditional trust that we have for states to hold nuclear weapons.
Okay, so this is just like educational spaces, like questioning the state is good.
The app has the function of tearing down the notion that states are completely responsible and rational with nukes.
Let me rephrase this question. Is there anything in the 1AC that you can gain offense from that are not the post-fiat consequences of the affirmative policy?
So I would agree that post-fiat consequences of the affirmative policy are the ones that matter most.
Wait, can you gain offense from something else or no? This is a yes or no question.
Well, like if you read like a disad, like a counterplan turn case, then no, there's no other offense.
Wait, yes or no? That isn't an answer.
Well, like I'm confused because if you read a K and say like reps come first, I'll go for this reps offense.
Yeah, if I don't say reps come first, does this argument have an impact?
I'm also want to be careful because like if you read a theory shell, obviously I want to go for 1 year theory. It's like Perry, there are no random
independent of 1 AR theory.
Wait, I want you to just understand there are no weird tricks in this app. It's like a regular LERP app. I defend the consequences of the app.
So you won't extend if I read like an NC, you won't extend this evidence as an independent reason to vote F.
No, I would not.
Okay, that took way too long. Let's move on.
I thought I answered the question like the first time you asked it.
So let's talk about things. So your second framework warrant says theories must be applicable in every single instance. And then your last card say exceptions exist if the theory is right. Aren't these directly contradictory?
No, the course card talks about how in an instance where the consequences of taking the action is way too appalling, i.e. resulting in extinction or billions of people dying, that would be bad. The initial analytic talked about how moral theories must guide action in our everyday lives, such as
moral theories must guide action in every instance, except for when they don't, and that's okay, is what you're saying.
I don't think that's what I'm saying.
Okay, move on. Let's talk about this O'Connor evidence. Can you read me a line in this that says the US and Russia will go to war?
The O'Connor evidence just says that tensions are high right now.
Yeah, so what's the internal link to war?
Well, the internal link to war is that the United States has already came out and said that first striking Russia is an option with low yield tactical nuclear weapons. And there's talk about why Russia's escalate to de-escalate strategy is a paradigm that they're willing to use when engaging with war against European states.
Okay, great. No prep. The order is 4 off.
Where are you starting on the app, Barry?
It's gonna be a line by line.
Cool.
I'll signpost.
Give me 1 minute or like 40 seconds.
Okay, the doc was sent. Let me know when everyone got it.
Wait, Para, can I go to the bathroom for a second? I'll
Yeah,
give you
sure.
some
I will
extra
also
time.
do that. Okay, let me just fill water. Okay, Evan, you good?
One second, let me download this speech doc.
I'm good whenever, Perry.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Evan, just tell me when you're good, then I'll start.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good. Let me mute myself 1 second, sorry.
First off, to affirm these states as valid, confirm foundation, finding is natural tax source, controls the internally affairs, the basic things, predictability, and BK jurisdiction, sexual negotiation, and thus the role of the ballot is a vote for data resolution, true, false, the resolution, no one in our role of the ballot. I to react to they should have read in the one I see now. One structural fairness is impossible to enemy role, they should have solved it, infinite amount of them being rest possibly both executable arguments, even for the resolution, true or false, links to reasons, other be researching outside the educational sphere, like mathematics or reason, the resolution, treating comparative rules, incentivizing substance use, and always be on the right side of the issue, truth, thinking allows more flexibility, competent arguments, not necessarily topically. No, cut out the second argument. I'm going to extend it really quickly. If I win truth testing all of my arguments, just prove that the resolution is false, comparative rules, so you have to test the truth of those worlds, speech, judgment, intervention, role of the ballots must be binary, minimize judgment, intervention, comparative rules, leaves open the room to decisions, ethical preferences, and potential judges based around certain advantages, truth testing, themselves in the binary question, finally, true or false. Second off, procedural strands, that's why I lose some straight is like appeals to empirical, maybe think how the world is not ought to be a circular, just like empirical, reality, empirical, and telling me higher truth, appeal to judgment, moral conclusions, see motivation, empirical, circumstances, specific genders, only chance of the more chance ability, all agents, actual features, and successful, that chance of the truth, the form of their methods, reality, the chance of space and time, the sheer world, inherently likes ability, manifest the form of generation, reality, only the form themselves, understand the reason by life, or moral and epistemic modesty, and 15 forms are the essence of things, almost your objects of the reasons, the forms for exist beyond space and time, being in the ontological relations, as the form of essence, force belongs to ourselves, where we best represent the physical world, receive their sense, susceptible, becoming, seeking, we are accept the sense, or status of reality, recognize the genuine knowledge of these things, what we perceive this type of objects in the outer reality, possible form, different subjective views depending on the perceptual mental states of the observer, forming one linguistics is we are beginning to announce the form of object on the particular instant, generic, and forms universal, unchanging, some of the concept dog, each particular dog we encounter, participates in the form of dog, the word dog implies dog essence, even the particular dog's world, live and dies again, beyond particular dogs, import dialect, where you think acquire real knowledge, to perform activity, area appeals, reference to the negative form of the good, be defined in the material world, be thoughts and ideas, no existence, as the theory of the form of choosing the most function, really generate design in the first place, that against one elimination of forms, a computer, they transcend beyond physical space, time, which is the form of the particular space, even though physical things can be destroyed, if they say the instructed form as facts, only understanding the form of less keen, more knowledge of the truth of that they also be destroyed in the first place, contradictions are new to the weapons of mashing of their higher forms of wars, and so on in the development's truthful day, to ensure what they can read in order to so that actual concept needs to match the form of words measure, what way I can really by stick and fix conception, the conditions for actually better war, guaranteeing success, even the words to be executed. Third off, moral things must act, even if I hold it out of separate steps, student action is not just like the prostitution, the whole action, steps is disconnected, was either so connected, one interruption, no disrupting entire action, order one, suppose I'm from A to B, the middle from B to C, I walk from C to D, and then all the other case, I was like, A to C, the action, not accurate, being in understanding this, action, formation, makes judgments, based on desire, they compute that we're having moral judgments, such a word or two. Calculation of desire, and from institutional reasoning, to conclusion, right, procedural state, intention, judgment, in favor of being a judgment, made T1, there's no logical connection, judgment, because T2, no matter what the things presented by T1, T2, action theories, first under your role, under comparative rules, about A, one states, but there's only here by ethical decision making, first enemy action. This computer to see that and every system makes an action. Every action needs NCs capable to the after the fair class to even whoever compare worlds for the AC kind of world obligations better than the space state affairs. The NC world is not better than the after we could obligations being seen because the cause of action now so that action a priori the whole agency on role 3 op your knowledge to always another inferior gay after condition that is capable to ignore for sake of some auto optimism being period worlds be like one better they can have the other world always just function the side chain not negate the resolution is not a unified action when oxidation of a critical condition something so the time condition can possess nuclear weapons of the actor can't take the resolution to the Oxford dictionary that finds eliminates murder as possible murder something that is a life action possible 3 states can be an ethical agent either multiple different states of policy implication means the action is unified the aggregation failed station polygon added 2 circles combined that makes me more circle states impossible to verify elimination means found elimination reasons that analyze other agents having no action for unity of action the resolution of possible it can't create 8 simple obligations to define action the only thing it wants to be infinite and cannot be generated from the maximum contingent upon particular circumstances 4 prop 1 check 1 or 30 double when you put minor x more response send your arguments out when it just intervenes to 2 and a half to an argument nothing trash ways and things around the beers and the distribution theory of 1 music star shape give answer to find out then I can do either see if music find the atlas makes sense 2 1 3 theory of one other way after case of 1 more and 3 theories 7 huge always there's an acquisition substance E2 air collapse the apple is when they tell all responses if you get 1 and 3 get 2 and 3 stars typical 2 1 and 3 drop the argument E2 air collapse 1 air can be mobile shells collapse and any up to 1 be the 2 and can put 3 minutes sufficient responses to everyone and then be recognized excuse me we're going to find any argument which needs 2 air doesn't have the answer they cause B speed given because the negative RBI and 1 our theory of C is checking for those 1 and 3 so they'll be lose just cells they lose our RBI checking for theories he is substance education really required substance 4 contextual and theory and resolutions the only thing we're given before the numbers always being able to be intelligently but constant resolution regardless of unfairness and all theories just check substance now on case the NC hijacks the NC. We only know what pleasure is based on the universal form. Otherwise, it would be ultimately set up to one. You're popping out evidence, even naturalistic fallacy. We can ask the same things. X either X is, she's logical, B it isn't. So your framework is false, being empirically not available. 1 + 1 = 2. So you find trigger steps is all moral knowledge that imperfectly prove things. Now your second argument always applicable. A point is a contradiction of the course of evidence says it has to be in particular circumstances. B proves idealism since every circumstance has to be in relation to the form. C action proves action theory since always said equal action. On Mandola, this is intuitions introspections unreliable, not normative. Just we feel our pleasure just because we have an obligation to maximize the lexical prerequisites of fallacy origins. Just because we have an obligation to preserve water doesn't mean have to. Also induction failures. Every induction based on previous induction. O bar flows negatives. There are no states and we get infinitely right agents to produce those false things. We can never stable experience of pleasure. Rostrum infinitely paralyzed action is always risk of extinction. And we'd have to be certain of modesty on your aggregation argument. No, we have psychic things like the Constitution. States don't have to aggregate using no acquisition extinction and no intent foresight, but there's always paralyzed because we have different intents. We're always co-equal upon your Ross evidence. When this begs the question, nihilism, sure, there's no reason to hedge to applies only nihilism. Says my value is no value. My arguments aren't nihilistic. They're just like in Shakespeare. If episode confidence is true, because modesty is your guess student and need to know a framework how to wait for as soon as Ross theory or rationality is true. Your course guard evidence. There's literally no word for this. Just as intuition is reliable, intuition fails. A but their disagreement. B but they're non-falsifiable. Also says Kant cares about consequences, but literally who cares about this? There's no word for this whatsoever. Also absolute should sequences. Otherwise things feel like particularly true. Just infinitely trigger step on your reps offense. Don't allow them to go reps offense. Also don't allow new 1 AR a priori. They're illogical. That'd be like different new advantages. The 1 AR should have been in the 1 AC and B it's unfairly unpredictable. You can spam out you can just spam out the 2 and R because I have to deal with so many layers. Now let's go into the stuff that's actually signposted on case. Hijack user collapses to motivism when you mainly says plain and pleasure, what derived from body leads or affecting motive states, modes of processing expressed in different ways means only expression desire to be left with the fundamental principles to pain and pleasure are holistic enough to account for all ethics, even if they are part of what makes something good. There are other natural motive responses to the contribute to plain and pleasure, not the gains when every motive adjustment against a particular individual, you know, but 70 every few years releases that resolution negations. There's no emotion that can be applied to universal claim access why the afternoon for the resolution statements like the afternoon true that confession under utilitarianism only. Now you cut out the other card now. Russian war is good for strike and tactical weapons, destroy Russian nuclear arsenals, the impact the after ship strategic weapons, things are cases more deadly since 17. New tech increases targeting capability exactly what one would expect when a nuclear war strikes strike subs patrol with more free time so warheads need to strike higher rate of Russian military to refuse excess probability of near certainty. The US will be left in a Russian higher Euro warheads, all Russian styles ICBMs eliminated, so the 272 warheads destruction would be crucial as first missile defense, these scare missiles that survive our first strike like press states. The US doubled the missile Atlantic defense of the US would talk about Russia roughly having survived functioning this sound 6 squadron interception target all of them, otherwise Russia's could be development Poseidon thermonuclear torpedo extinction Exodus 19. Poseidon carries submarines to expect that ender submarines will carry 2 megas of nuclear payload to be detonated 1,000 people to the surface generate radioactive tsunami behind the hands of the nuclear flash travels 2,000 meters Poseidon is stronger larger nukes bomb ever detonated 10 in seconds. It can't be countered. Lucky 19. Russia's Poseidon use warhead making the strongest distracting bomb ever named to come into contact with water. Can get radioactive tsunami eruptions and Poseidon August accept this now. Permissible against because the odd resolution odd statements are proving there's no obligations. Sufficient presumption against because infinitely more ways for statements to be false and both P and not P should be logical contradiction. I'm ready for CX whenever.
Okay, which cards did you not read on case?
The only stuff I didn't read on case was I didn't read the Kane card. I didn't read the analytics under that, and I read all the Russia were good stuff.
Okay, you read all 4 cards on case.
Yes.
Cool. So did you make arguments for why pain and pleasure can't be the basis for ethics?
Yes, that's
Okay.
the hijack. This is on the like the introspection argument. The arguments were
Okay.
on
Wait.
Mendola. A, introspection is unreliable because it's subjected by our states of mind, and B, just because our pleasure is good doesn't prove
Okay.
a normative obligation.
Is there any reason to vote neg on theory?
Vote neg on theory?
Yeah.
No, none
Cool.
of my offense is theoretical.
Okay. So let's go on to the action theory NC. Well, I guess like, does this define a theory of the good, i.e.,
No.
what is, it doesn't?
It doesn't. It's rather a necessary and logical constraint for all theories of the good.
Okay. So it's like, in order to take good action, that action must be a possible action.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess like, why do all these arguments, I guess like if the app fiats that United States already eliminates their W76-2, we defend a world in which the action already happens. Why does that like mean, why does it matter if that action is impossible?
Yeah, sure. So a few things. One, I think truth testing takes out the conception of fiat because it's just a question of whether or not the statement is true or false. Two, I don't think that the app gets to fiat something that's literally logically impossible. And third, fiat only matters insofar as it establishes an obligation to bring that about. However, if obligation to bring that about is impossible, then you vote negative.
So do you have any reasons for why the app advocacy does not affirm under truth testing? No, right? You didn't read like any T definitions?
What do you mean by that? Like, I didn't read any, like, yeah, I didn't read T, but like I have an NC, I have the action theory NC, I have hijacks, I have turns. Like, those are all reasons why you negate under truth testing.
Okay. And I guess the third off, not the third off, the second off. What is this off defined as good?
I'm sort of confused what you mean by defined as a theory.
Like what does this off say that we ought to do?
Sure. So this off says that we ought to be consistent with the forms and how they guide reality.
What is a form?
Sure. A form is a universal experience of something, and like a universal thing, it defines what this is. So for example, if I have a small red sofa and a large blue sofa, they are both sofas because there's a universal form of what a sofa ought to be.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess like I have a confusion about the second point. Nuclear weapons are a mastery of their form as instruments of war.
Yeah.
What is that? Like, why is that negate?
Why does that negate?
Why is like encouraging war bad?
Well, the argument is that nuclear weapons are successful in achieving their form, i.e. as weapons.
Oh, okay. So wait, nuclear weapons are effective in war. Wait, can you answer that question?
Nuclear weapons are effective in war?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like that
Okay.
isn't really well. The NC is means based.
Cool.
Also, I know I didn't point this out initially, but I didn't read the last, like the other, I didn't read anything under if I'm textual unfair and the 1 AR theory stuff.
That was 4 minutes taken.
Okay.
Ooh, the order is going to be the AF, truth testing, the first NC, the action theory NC, and then I think that's all. Okay, I'm going to be sending a piece of evidence.
Where on the app are you starting?
First advantage and then the framework. Okay.
What was the rest of the order after 1 AR theory?
Truth testing, first NC, second NC.
Wait, you are gonna wait? Sorry, can you repeat the order then? If there's 1 AR theory.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's 1 AR theory. I did not say 1 AR theory. Sorry.
Okay.
The order is just gonna be the AF advantage, AF framework,
Yeah.
first NC, second NC.
Okay, I'm ready whenever, so you can just start. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. Okay, is anybody not ready? Cool. A couple of explanation for miscal. Target countries can't differentiate between low yield and full size launch and the intended destination for the strike, meaning that the full size response escalating to all out nuclear war in 30 minutes response time means that enemies assume the words W-76s are tipping between US and Russia tension. Since US thinks that Russia has moved to an offensive stance, resulting in both countries have used it or lose the pressure of the Russia war good argument. This first string of the evidence talks about things like ICBMs. 8 they haven't proved that US is going to launch ICBMs at Russia in the status quo. People that US policy is launching the W-762 first, and then Russia has 30 minutes response time, which is even if we can destroy their nuclear arsenal, they'll already have a full size response and will already result in nuclear war and extinction. We can't just direct our nuclear weapons at their, we can't just direct our ICBMs at their thing. The sort of like Russian development of the new nuclear weapon argument turned. The status quo encourages an arms race where Russia actively develops new forms of nuclear weapon in response to U.S. development and stuff like that. And miscal just means that Poseidon will just be used in that scenario, since if they're already developing the status quo and we launch our W-762, that means that they'll use miscal in the status quo, but not in the case of the affirmative. Now, the framework to a proper extinction comes first and comes in ethical constraint to the framework. First is probability. Every ethical theory considers that life is the source of all value, but the difference and how people should act in their life philosophy would agree that everybody dying would be the worst thing possible. In the form of the human is to stay alive and do things like have value, which hijacks the NC. Second, hijacks the net framework. We can use their NC framework in everyday lives. However, the resolution is an exception. The line by line can see that pain and pleasure aren't the basis of ethics and motivism. Hijacks goes away, but just everybody dying is bad. Induction doesn't fail. If I drop this pen, it will definitely fall on the floor, and we can be 99% certain when taking actions, even if we aren't 100% certain. The bottom paralyzing actions argument, there is not always a risk of extinction. Obviously, certain events are more probable than others. Also, it's just beneficial to prevent extinction from happening for a longer period of time. Just means that we can infinitely start pushing up extinction. Also, use consequences. So if you know the consequence, what happens after the app, choose not to do the word culpable for the consequences. It links the NC, since an action definitely wills that everybody dies, which destroys both form and destroys the action theory NC, since it means that people can't take action if they're dead. The truth testing page. Prioritize comparative world stimulating policy because it's good and kills and outweighs in terms of scopes, since it allows us to carry skills to the real world. It's possible to simulate policy. So obviously we just like fiat the F happens and then we analyze what happens after that. Jurisdiction is nonsense. Just vote non-TLs all the time, which means there's no impact to this. And even under truth testing, evaluate the app advocacy alone, since that's what I defend. I prove the truth of resolution of the advocacy. They have no net ground in terms of why the app itself doesn't prove the true or falsity of the resolution, which means that the debate should be centered around the affirmative advocacy. Also independently affirm under truth testing. In order to prove something is true, you need to first in order to prove something is false, you need to first assume that it's true, i.e. say, what if this was true, and then prove it false. From there, assume that it was true, which is meaning that automatically affirmed. Yes, one of our priorities is key to turn the negative. They read a priorities as well via the action theory and they read a bunch of news, which means it's key to reciprocal ground. It's just logically reasons affirm. Presumption permissibly affirm. Square bias, we're calling bias maintains that square bush options assume equal err on the side of change. B point, we presume same is true. If I told you my name is Evan, you believe me. Also, you have evidence to the contrary. De facto probability argument. C point is that if everything's okay, dude, then we're more likely for people to act than to not act. The probability argument is nonsense. Obviously, we just need to prove that one statement is false. It is an infinite number of ways to prove a statement true. The first NC util determines the form of things, says that it determines whether they're good or bad in certain contexts, and no way to evaluate the form of objects. And the form of objects is physical, which is a physical argument, and they want to see it independently linked to elimination of the irreversible destruction of existing weapon. Compound 17 definition eliminate the physical process so complete for weapons capable to be difficult, essentially reversal, which is that we don't need to abolish a thought of nuclear weapons, just a physical thing. There have provided no incentive to rearm or no evidence about rearm anyway, which means the AF meets this burden. The war arguments can see the link to that nukes are not effective at achieving the forms. Since W76 are horrible at what they do, they destroy U.S. defense strategy since they reveal the submarines locations. This is not consequential since it's inherent to the design of weapons that are that's super bad, and it allows Russia to just crush us in terms of war. The NC, the second NC about action theory, fiat solves. We aren't debating whether the AF axis is possible, but whether the world in which the AF is passed versus the status quo. Also, that applies under truth testing as well, since fiat also the states ought to eliminate nuclear arsenals, assume subconception of fiat as well. Eliminate isn't murder. That was a definition above. Obviously, evaluate in the context of the topic, and off states, the state is a country, err on the side of intuition in what we're talking about. Also, the AF just defends the United States, which means there's no internally to this general states argument, and states can be an ethical agents merely disproven. For example, the United States has done things like abolish slavery, which is good. Aggregation doesn't fail, since states aggregate all the time in doing cost benefit analysis. The last argument on unity action, and the rest is possible. We should just stop funding for weapons in terms of W76 weapons and just destroy them and store them in other places. All these arguments are ridiculous. Just vote off the AF.
Okay, 5 minutes of prep starting now. Wait, what was the last argument? The stop funding for weapons thing?
Yeah, so the unity of action argument is like AF action is impossible. No, it is possible. We just stop funding for weapons. Or we
Okay.
can just deconstruct the weapons.
Yeah, great. The order will be truth testing, the order will be truth testing, the AF, then the Plato NC. Evan, are you good?
I'm good.
Let me know. Let me know if you're good.
Can you say the order
Is
one more
there a
time?
doc?
No doc. It's truth testing, case, Plato NC. Is everyone ready? Okay, I'm gonna assume everyone's ready. Is anyone not ready? Better question. Okay. You can basically sign your ballot after the first minute of the 1NC. Oopsie, you've dropped no new 1AR roll of the ballot because it's infinitely unpredictable and illogical, and it should have been the affirmative. Even if you believe that they responded to no 1AR a priori, they conceded no new 1AR off the roll of ballots. Also, they didn't even read a roll of the ballot text, so you have no idea what to evaluate it under, which means you have to send the roll of the ballot test to true for falsity of the resolution. Even then, I'm gonna win the truth testing roll of the ballot versus comparative worlds. But firstly, oopsie, you conceded an a priori. The top of the affirmative. To affirm means to assert as valid as confirmed. Well, to negate is deny a truth vote. This means it's only possible to vote negative on the truth testing because you only assert the resolution is true, but the negate actually denies the truth vote, which means that only I can fulfill my burden. So you have to vote negative because voting F is logically impossible. Now let's go into their warrants. Here, let's go into the ton of stuff that was dropped. First, on comparative worlds, you deadass conceded a reason why comparative worlds collapses the truth testing, which is expected, which is that we have to test whether or not the world is true, test whether or not your world is true, which means that even if you win comparative worlds is good for skills, your roll of the ballot, which is collapses to my nestly. You've let's see the third point, which is that truth testing is comparative worlds. So you can see comparative worlds causes judge intervention. As far as the judge will always have certain topical opinions on whether or not the disadvantage or the advantage is true, but they don't have an semantic truth. This means that your opinion is judge intervention. Judge intervention outweighs it's A, stagnation of making a decision, and B, if the judge does have to flip a coin that controls the eternal into any sort of fairness or education. Lastly, you've dropped jurisdiction, which is that the judge can only vote in the true falsity of the resolution. As far as its semantic and straight, your only response is, well, they don't do it all the time, but that's a logical fallacy. Just as soccer referees allow, just as like a referee would allow cheating, doesn't mean cheating is allowed to the rules. You haven't proved anything that comparative rules is instrumental to rules, and the jurisdiction comes before all pragmatic benefits. Even if you prove that it's good, it doesn't matter. Now let's go into your skills. Now let's go into your responses. First, you say skills. No, comparative rules doesn't foster skills. A point we just learned about learning to regurgitate evidence instead of making analytical arguments on the fly. B, no education voter read in the rounds, which means that it doesn't matter. C, you can see comparative worlds is actively bad for skills because it substantively skews it. So true testing, so it substantively skews it. So one debater will always get less skills. Now you're only usually evaluate the app alone in context, but this makes no sense. It's as a judge's obligation to test the true false of the resolution. Obviously, the app could prove the resolution true, but I'm going to win that the negative proves it false. I even concede a priori in all of the negatives arguments. Now let's go into this 1AR a priori stuff. No 1AR a prioris. Usually, 1AR a prioris are logical because it would be the same thing as reading a new advantage in the 1AR since substantive offensive should in the 1A CE. Logic outweighs limits than any other arguments. Like it's straight your ability to vote for it. Even if you made it be fair for the 1AR to get a prioris, you literally can't. Even then, you drop the fairness warrants against 1AR a prioris. And they make the two are literally impossible. You can just say a bunch of auto warrant things and move my framing. Your only argument is to skew the train the negative, but there's no reason why the one negative strategy is bad. And my abuse outweighs because I literally lose every round. Let's switch to terrible a priori. You're saying you do statements true and false. A point, there's no warrant for this argument whatsoever. B point, this argument's obviously false. We know 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5. C point, strength like an a priori. They dropped a bunch of them, and I'm gonna win. D point, this argument just proves that we start at truth value, not that truth value is completely determinate. It's just we start presuming things true, but then we can prove them false. Not that they're always true. Even if there's a marginal amount of truth value, they literally can't prove the resolution true. So my a priori outweighs. On the app, I don't need to do very much work on the app. I just need to extend a few dropped arguments that are completely contradictory of the arguments and reasons to completely vote negative. First, oopsie, you conceded a response that pleasure is good, which is on the Mendota evidence that pleasure is not normative. Just because I know my pleasure is good doesn't mean I have an obligation to care about other people. It takes out extinction because we don't have an obligation to care about the human race going extinct. It means there's no terminal impact to your art. So it means there's no terminal impact to your argument. Second, oopsie, you dropped an entire hijack, which is that usual triggers and motivism insofar as ethics just completely subjective to pain and pleasure, which means that you can never prove an obligation. We can never prove that all obligations are false under utilitarianism because we can never have a prescriptive obligation to do something. They're going to try to stand up in the 1AR and go for the spin. This is offense, but literally it was dropped, and the implication is you can never prove an obligation, which means that under utilitarianism, which means that you just vote negative, even if they win their framework. Now, let's go onto the Plato NC. Also, actually, the emotive stuff also negates in their comparative worlds because it proves that we can't have an obligation to the app in the comparative world. So their world is worse because we don't know if it's better. Onto the NC. Here's a conceded argument. Oopsie, you drop performativity, which says that you only know whether or not pleasure is good and relative to the form of pleasure. Right? There has to be a universal form of pleasure and a universal form of the human is and a universal form of extinction in order for any arguments to make sense. This means the NC is a sequencing question. Now, here are the issues. Here's the framing issues to NC. One, if truth testing is true, you automatically vote negative because you have conceded the linguistics argument, which says that the resolution uses the resolution is a question of form. So you obviously can't eliminate the linguistic text. This means that under truth testing, the resolution is tautologically false. So it asks us to eliminate a form semantically. Second, I know that the NC is normally true under comparative worlds. Insofar as it's not consequential, you have dropped that all non-idealist theories of life are just committed to is-ought fallacy because they describe how the world is, not how it ought to be, which means that all of your Utah warrants, like extinction first, just presume an is-ought fallacy and rely on them, so they're not normative. Ethics must be ideal. And that's what your response is. You say it proves that the form of humanity is being alive. A point, no reason why this is the form of humanity. B point is that the resolution is a question of use. You say usual determines the form of things. There's literally no word for this whatsoever. You say elimination is the irreversible destruction. Yes, that's the point. You say no rearm. Again, this doesn't matter. You say nukes are bad. What can you do? I'm not going for this offense. I'm going for the offense that you only gain understanding of what a nuclear weapon is through its form. You only get a nuclear understanding of what a nuclear weapon. I'm going for the offense that was hidden in the first part, which says that if forms is true, we wouldn't eliminate nuclear weapons because getting rid of them would prevent us from understanding their form because we wouldn't have them back to relate to. There were no offensive turns. This negates in the comparative worlds because it prevents us from searching for an ethical theory of the good insofar as we could get rid of nuclear weapons under comparative worlds. We don't know what nuclear weapons are, which is a logical contradiction. Even then, you can see that we have an obligation to preserve knowledge about the world through the forms of nuclear weapons violate untrue form. Look, really easy round. The 2AR is going to do a bunch of grandstanding, and these arguments are ridiculous. They're getting slapped. They've conceded an a priori a hijack in an entire NC.
Okay, starting a minute of prep. Okay. There's going to be AF advantage, framing, some quick clarification on the truth testing questions, then the NC. Okay.
Can you
I'm just starting on the AF. Okay. Is anybody not ready? Cool. AF advantage will continue new cause miscalculation when escalates to extinction. Extinction outweighs was basically dropped by the 200. They spent 5 seconds on it. It prevents any possibility of achieving future moral value. It destroys the intrinsic forms of humans since objects need to live up to the form. The form of humans is to live and prosper, and extinction prevents that. The only answer is that no word for why this is the case, but obviously all the NC presumes that people need to live up to their function. And if the form of humans is not to be alive, then what is the form of humans? And also prevents us from achieving any moral value anyways. And for anything to live up to the form of anything, their line by line, their pleasure, the response that pleasure is good takes out extinction. Pleasure being good is unimportant. Since I'm going going for extinction as internally to the NC the usual tricks of motivism argument. I conceded that pain and pleasure just absolutely doesn't matter in the 1 AR. An only win for extinction is a side constraint to NC, which means the motivism hijack doesn't go away because I only win for extinction aspect of the app, not the pain and pleasure arguments. I can see that pain and pleasure fail and aren't the base for ethics, which obviously means that they don't get access to hijack. Quickly extend intent force extinction to Tasco. Intentions of will that all human life is end. Since there's no intent force extinction, no act mission distinction. If we predict something that will be calculated in short attention, that means the next side of the resolution doing nothing and saying that states shouldn't limit their nuclear arsenal actively wills extinction happen. Quick clarification for offense under truth testing. Our extinction arguments still apply under truth testing since if states eliminated nuclear weapons, then W762 would also be eliminated, and you should only still evaluate the app advocacy testing. The app proves the truth of the resolution while the truth testing frames which offense matters, but if they haven't provided reasons why the app advocacy text isn't affirmed the resolution, you should just evaluate the app advocacy text, but affirming the resolution in general still works anyways. I'll quickly answer this sort of like a priori they went for in the 2 AR. This was not flagged as an a priori in the 1NC. This was flagged as a definition for what affirming or negating means. It wasn't framed as an independent reason to vote negative. I'll repeat their definition for you. Assert as valid or conformed. Obviously, we debate about what is valid, like whether the app is a good idea, a bad idea, which means if I prove that the app hijacks internally to NC, it means that I control internally to this argument. It wasn't contextualized as a reason to vote negative in the 1NC, which means that this is a completely new argument. The extinction, this was a complete new contextualization. I've already answered this. So now the offense under the NC proper, the is-ought fallacy argument answering to extinction. Extinction doesn't commit is-ought fallacy, preserves the human race. It's not like we're evaluating things like empirical things, or saying that empirical things are the basis for ethics, just that people are all going to die. They eliminate semantic form of the resolution. Offense under the NC, we need to prove that. All we need to do is that prove that states ought to limit their nuclear arsenals. Preserving the semantic form of the resolution is incoherent since the app obviously doesn't abolish the resolution. Also, this my offense which in terms of slides links is results in all humans dying and no people experiencing any form anyways. Well, this is just like a minute thing about the resolution. They say getting rid of nukes prevents us from searching for the form of nuclear weapons. First, the thought of nukes still exists, and you can see our definition of eliminate is just physical elimination of nuclear weapons, but people can still have the thought of nuclear weapons inside their head, and so which means that it preserves the form. Second is that the second link was conceded that W762 specifically don't fulfill their function as a legitimate nuclear weapon because in order for it to fulfill the form, it needs to be a viable thing for states to use in self-defense. But W762 shred our deterrence ability and result in Russia absolutely killing us, which is just another linker, to the 1C. Did I miss anything? The RPU is ridiculous. It wasn't framed as an independent reason to negate under truth testing. They just read a definition and then extended as an RPU in the 2 AR. Extinction outweighs. We've done impact calculus and what offense actually links to the NC. The hijack, they just messed up because we didn't go for pain and pleasure.
Good debate.
Good debate.
All right, is everyone here?
Yeah.
I'm here.
I'm here. This is Perry.
I'm here.
All right, so decisions in. Congratulations to
Hold on,
both
is Evan?
debaters.
Did Evan say he was here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, sorry.
I got it,
Okay.
Chris. So congratulations to both debaters for making to semifinals of the ETOC. It is a 2-1 decision for the affirmative.
I'll go first. Because I squirreled. So I'm just gonna be straight up. This is like not my forte. I was on a panel with Charles the last round, and this high theory like Phil stuff is just like not my thing. Very hard to evaluate when
Can
I
you pause for a second?
yeah.
Chris, can you mute your mic? Because I think your speaker's on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. So this was just a little bit interesting for me to adjudicate. I feel like for me, the one hour like wasn't very clear on a lot of stuff. I'm gonna try and make this sound as like educational as possible, but this was just like very hard. Because I think the 1 hour was kind of patchy in some areas. I can't tell you like where specifically because I'm still trying to like figure out stuff. I just think the 2N cleared up a lot of stuff for me when it comes to like this sequencing argument. I get really good warrants. I think the linguistics argument is really good, and I also ended up voting on like this tautological claim stuff. This is an argument that I voted on before, not at this tournament, but at other tournaments. I just think that it's very well fleshed out in the 2N enough for me to probably feel the most comfortable voting on that. Otherwise, like offensively, I just think things kind of went back and forth, and I really need the 2AR to implicate a lot more things. It's just like this kind of like came down to like paradigmatic things. Perry's had me before, so he kind of knows where to explain certain aspects of the debate that needed to be explained more for me to see like that interaction, how those things are implicated. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. And I'm so sorry this isn't like the best RFD ever. If you have any other questions, shoot me an email because my thoughts will probably be together a lot more after this is like over.
All right, I can go next.
Oh, all right.
No, Charles, no. So I agree. Obviously, it's not the ideal condition to evaluate a debate of this sort. However, I feel pretty comfortable with my decision. So obviously, the truth testing is the role of the ballot, and there seems to be an agreement that the AF can still, the AF is offense underneath truth testing. It's just a question of these other sources of where the neg's getting their offense from. So first, just starting the AF flow arbitrarily. The hijack argument, I think the 2NR just misses the 1AR move here. The 1AR's move is to concede that like pleasure is irrelevant, and that takes out the hijack. I don't have a response to, I don't have a reason why, if we don't care about pleasure, why the hijack still matters. The 2NR just kind of says that you drop the 1AR dropped the hijack, which is incorrect. Well, it doesn't deny the truth of the hijack. It just says that the hijack isn't a hijack if they concede this particular warrant. So that warrant is conceded. We don't care about pain and pleasure, but extinction is a independent site constraint on the NC standard. So that's why I end up thinking that the hijack goes away. I guess the more logical kind of higher layers argument is the a priori. This is where I spend the most time making my decision, because I think on the NC it's kind of clear. The problem with the a priori, and I give it like a fair read, because I didn't understand it as an a priori in the 1N, but you know, I granted that like under these conditions that might just be a tech error. So just looking at the doc, I still don't understand why it's an a priori. It's literally the definitions of affirm, but it doesn't say what. It doesn't say why like what the neg did to me satisfy the condition of denying an affirmation. So it's just literally like, this is what we have to do. and there's no explanation of why the neg did something. So it's like a burden without an argument for why the negative met their burden or the affirmative failed to meet their burden. Absent that, I think like the 2AR explanation that just kind of like the AF offense proves that I did something, that I asserted something is valid. So I think this just means like the AF needs to have offense, and if there is no offense, then I negate. But since I think the AF has offense, I don't understand this as a reason why there is no AF. Like it is, I have to negate on face. So I think there's a pretty, giving it a pretty kind of generous reading. I don't get to like how this is potentially offense for the negative. And I think that ends up being the problem, because on the NC, so first, the 2NR I think goes for a bit too much, and it kind of does not fully grapple with how the 1AR is engaging with the NC. So it goes, I think the app is winning that under the form stuff that extinction outweighs. So all this kind of like linguistic sequencing, all this stuff just seems to beg the question of debate, but doesn't beg the question of how the AF attempts to link to the framework debate. So I end up thinking that the neg is winning the framework debate, but the AF is winning the extinction offense links to that framework and comes first underneath that framework. Your argument for why like extinction is not the form of the human, I don't think is great. Like your responses are, there's no reason why this is the form. I think the 1AR and 2AR's argument that just kind of says humans have to be alive to have any sort of form seems like a pretty reasonable interpretation of what the form of humans are, and there's not like a competing one for me to weigh against that. Then you say like the resolution is a question of nukes. I'm not sure why that answers this, because it's still answering the question of nukes by looking at how it affects the form of human. So I think that's offense underneath the NC, and I also don't think that the neg is winning their own offense, since there's a concession of this elimination definition, which is that elimination doesn't try to remove an idea, it just tries to remove the physical objects, and the idea will still exist.
Can I ask a question?
So, yeah, I'm done.
Sure. So I guess I could have been more explicit about this in the 2NR, but the thing that was extended was like the semantics evidence, which is like the linguistic stuff, which is like you do try to eliminate an idea because nouns are like definitionally ideas, which means that under truth testing, eliminating nukes is impossible.
Under truth testing nouns, say that again?
So this is the card about like dogness, right? It's like, let me find the name of the card. At least the 2NR extends it, and it's like the Genota 10 card, which is like linguistics, appeal to bare nouns as the form of an object rather a particular instance. So wouldn't that mean that like under truth testing, when the 2NR extends this argument, even if the AF is winning eliminate as like even if the AF says we're eliminating the physical objects, that seems to mean that you have to prove eliminating the form is coherent under truth testing.
Yeah, I really don't understand what that means. Like, okay. I don't understand why why truth testing would change the definition of eliminate. Like the AF is just reads a definition of what eliminate means, and that's what the advocacy is. And it seems the AF's advocacy does not try to do something that the neg says it tries to do.
It would change the definition of what nukes are, right? Like, i.e. nukes as a form versus nukes as like an individual instance.
Well, yeah, but I think eliminating says what aspect of nukes is being, what aspect of nuclear weapons are being eliminated. Like, it's not just like nukes good, bad in a vacuum. Like modify has to determine, or eliminate determines what is being done to nukes. It's just saying, yes, we're getting rid of the physical thing of nukes. So that seems consistent with my understanding of the argument, and as it's explained in the debate, is that yes, nukes could talk about the form, but the AF only has to prove that they eliminate it, which means they only have to do a physical action to the form, not do anything that's like removes the entire concept. Like I think it's just more germane what elimination is than what nuclear weapons may or may not be.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna jump in here, give my RFD. So I agree with a lot of what Chris said. So I think like on the first layer, I look to whether or not I buy the a priori, and honestly, I don't think I do. The role of the ballot text is to prove the truth or falsity of the resolution. So simply negating it doesn't necessarily prove the falsity of the resolution, even if that is your burden. I think this is still a certain degree of work you have to do to prove that you're proving the resolution false versus simply denying the truth of the F. I think there's a logical jump there that I don't feel comfortable voting on since it was extrapolated in the 2NR, and I give the 2AR leeway and at least like putting lip service addressing that. So I don't vote on the a priori simply because I don't think like it makes logical sense reading through it, even if like it was in the 1N. That's just like saying like, okay, like if the sky is blue, then you vote neg, but like in the sense that that is true, like I don't really think the first premise leads to the conclusion that you have there. Second, on the hijack, I think the 1AR and 2AR were good on explaining why extinction is a side constraint. I think the 2NR does misunderstand it, and so I fall towards the F on this issue, so I wouldn't vote on it. Last, in the NC, I think I can comfortably evaluate the turn that getting rid of W76-2, which is an ineffective type of nuclear warhead, would preserve the form, functioning as offense under the NC, and has enough strength of link that I think probably has enough weight. I can just vote on the AC advantage. With this, like I don't think there was enough weighing done between like the linguistic argument and how that like interacts, and I don't like feel comfortable with doing that work for the 2NR if I don't fully understand the argument in the NC itself. So I think the link turn is sufficient for me to just go onto the AC flow, because like even after listening to you kind of explain it to Chris, like I don't know like what that really means or how to conceptualize that within the debate round. And I think like the 2AR explanation of just like, oh, I wouldn't like the advantage extinction side constraint on the NC itself, like that's a lot clearer of a ballot story, so I feel comfortable voting there.
Yeah, I guess I didn't articulate it necessarily in like the two. I thought I articulated it in the 2NR, but like that could have probably been a lot clearer. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that if it was clear, probably would have put more weight into it and give it more thought. But in this particular instance, didn't really make too much sense in my opinion.
That's fine. Okay, thank you.
Good round though. That was very close.
Good round.
Thank you.